So the ATF has suffered significant losses. This week alone, a 6-3 decision by the Supreme Court struck down some of their overreach, which is going to have huge implications for all other ATF cases, including the pistol brace ban, the unfinished frames and receivers restrictions, the engaged in business rules, and other ATF restrictions as well. So we need to talk about what is now happening. Now, really quick before we jump into this video, I want to thank one of the sponsors of this channel, which is Kershaw Knives. Kershaw has some of the best knives available on the market if you're just looking for a quality EDC knife. I carry a Kershaw Iridium knife every single day for my EDC, and I cannot recommend them enough. So if you're interested, if you want a high quality knife, if you want a valuable knife that doesn't break the bank, check out Kershaw Knives, go to their website, and if you use the code ARMED40, you can get 40% off of your order. So again, thank you to Kershaw Knives for sponsoring and supporting this two-way content. Now, like I mentioned in the intro, in this video, we're gonna be talking about some of the huge developments that have happened this week, and going forward, what implications the Supreme Court's recent 6-3 decision will have on all ATF overreach cases. If you're not aware, recently the Supreme Court issued a 6-3 decision in the ATF case, which deals with the regulation of bump stocks as so-called machine guns. In the Cargill case, the Supreme Court issued a 6-3 decision authored by Justice Thomas, striking down that ATF overreach. They found that the ATF had gone beyond what the statutory language of the Gun Control Act says about machine guns, and they found that the ATF's interpretation that bump stocks as their own right are machine guns, and then also firearms equipped with bump stocks that they are machine guns. They found that the ATF's interpretation of that was in fact incorrect and must be struck down. The Supreme Court said that if Congress created some statutory changes, if they included bump stocks into that language on their own, well then that's a different story. But the language as it sits right now in the GCA does not include items like bump stocks. Therefore, they struck down that ATF overreach. Now that's significant because keep in mind that ATF bump stock ban, that ATF rule, was kind of the first interpretation process that the ATF engaged in, which went down this road that then led to the pistol brace ban, the unfinished frames and receivers restriction, the engaged in business restriction, and all these other restrictions in ATF overreach cases that we now see. You have multiple cases right now that are making their way through the process. The most recent is the engaged in business restriction, and that one was passed after the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. That was a statute that was passed after the incidents in Uvalde. You had a bunch of rhinos in the House and Senate side with the liberals, passed the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, and they changed some of the language about who is engaged in the business of dealing firearms. And then that has led to lawsuits by amazing organizations that have now shut that down. This week alone, we got a preliminary injunction halting that engaged in business of dealing firearms restriction. And then we also, this same week, also got a restriction shot down, which is on pistol braces. If you're not aware, pistol braces deal with, or the pistol brace ban deals with the ATF's new interpretation suddenly saying that braced pistols or pistols attached with braces on them are suddenly now actually SBRs, that they've always been SBRs, despite what the ATF has said multiple times in the past. Now, the reason why the Supreme Court's 6-3 decision is so important is because the bump stock ban was the first along the chain of this type of ATF overreach. They went the bump stock ban, and then it led to, I believe, the pistol brace rule, then the unfinished frames and receivers restriction, which deals with 80%ers, and then that recently led to the engaged in business of dealing firearms. And all of those are similar actions dealing with ATF overreach. All along, the ATF in all these cases has claimed that they have broad discretion, that they have broad authority to interpret some of these statutes the way that they want to engage in different types of conduct, like regulating braced pistols as SBRs, or regulating bump stocks as actual machine guns and therefore banning them, restricting the sale of 80%ers, restricting the sale of private party transactions, and then other things as well. We've seen developments when it comes to homemade suppressors, forced reset triggers. All of these things engaged or involved ATF overreach. And this 6-3 decision by the Supreme Court is huge because it kind of cuts off the head of the snake. The bump stock ban was one of those issues that was a little bit more questionable because, especially when you listen to the oral arguments of the Supreme Court, you could tell that there was a little bit of hesitation because when they hear rate of fire and bump stocks, and automatically they are concerned about maybe regulating those types of items. Now, of course, that's a violation of the Second Amendment, but a lot of these cases don't even get to the Second Amendment issue. This is more about procedural issues and ATF's interpretations and regulations of these items. So cutting off the head of the snake with the bump stock ban is significant and is going to have trickle-down effects. We saw recently, for example, in the pistol brace case, the judge there, Judge O'Connor, issued a nationwide vacatur of the ATF pistol brace rule. Now, of course, the ATF is going to appeal that up to the Fifth Circuit. We know that they will. They always do. Right now, there are also a bunch of appeals for preliminary injunctions dealing with pistol braces as well, and those have been consolidated for August 15th. But what is likely going to happen now is you're going to see a bunch of 28J letters. It's a specific type of letter notifying the courts that are reviewing all these cases of new authority, and that new authority is the Supreme Court's 6-3 decision in the Cargill case, saying that, hey, the Supreme Court found that the ATF overstepped their authority when it came to bump stocks. This issue of pistol braces, or this issue of 80%ers, or this issue of engaged in the business of dealing firearms, or FRTs, or homemade suppressors, or whatever, similar issue, ATF overreach, and therefore court here, you should strike down this action as well of the ATF and stop this overreach. So of course, this 6-3 decision in the Cargill case is going to impact all other ATF cases. Now, one of the other very interesting things is, with this, the ATF always has the option where maybe they could try to go back and promulgate a new rule, or try to get Congress to pass some statutory language changes. But both of those they take a long time. When it comes to doing a notice of proposed rulemaking, coming up with a new rule, doing the comment and notice period, and then finalizing the rule, that takes a year plus. And then definitely when it comes to changing statutory language in Congress, especially changing things like in the GCA or the NFA or anything like that, that's going to take a really long time. And this is all hopefully going to stall out ATF overreach for the foreseeable future, probably for the next year plus, in my hopes, while we potentially get a president change, while Trump, gets back in office, and hopefully he's learned from his lessons, that he will no longer push for things like ATF overreach when it comes to bump stocks or things like that. He will no longer take bad advice from organizations that say it's okay to ban bump stocks. And with a new president in place, with President Trump back in place, we can stop this type of ATF overreach even further, stall it out even longer, and just kind of put a halt to this type of ATF overreach. So this is all to say that Supreme Court decision, that 6-3 decision in Cargill, is huge. It's going to have huge ramifications and trickle-down effects for all other cases that we're going to be watching. We're now going to see what happens with pistol braces, with the Vanderstock frames and receivers case, because now that one is set to be decided also by the Supreme Court next term, and I would anticipate it's going to go the same way, which is going to be an even further blow to the ATF. So not only are they going to have to deal with now getting Cargill cited in every single ATF case, but by the end of next Supreme Court term, they're likely also going to have the Vanderstock case against them. And so it's going to be a 1-2 punch against them, including all other maybe Chevron deference cases that are now pending and set to be decided. So really, this is a huge uphill battle for the ATF, but I don't feel sorry for them. I don't think anybody in the 2A community feels sorry for them. And this type of agency overreach should have been stopped a long time ago, but we're all happy to see it happening now. And now hopefully we can just get some Second Amendment decisions directly against the ATF, stopping some of these actions as well, just purely under the Second Amendment context. So again, amazing things going forward. And if we get information, if anything else changes in any of these ATF cases, I will let you guys know. So if you like this video, and you would like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm, and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos and in this type of 2A news. But as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And never forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.